Hey everyone, Julie Saunders here. This week's episode of Believer is going to be delayed. We didn't factor pandemic into the production schedule, and there are just some intersecting health issues that are causing some complications. Episode 3 will be up very soon, but in the meantime, I thought I would recommend some other shows for you to listen to. So, if you have enjoyed Rosa Delgado as Mayor Terry Boone in Believer, and you really want to hear what she can do, then check out Elaine's Cooking for the Soul. It's a post-apocalyptic cooking show. It's surprisingly gentle, it's quirky, it's fun. Rosa plays the titular Elaine, and she is absolutely incredible. And I'm grateful to the series creator, Ali Schleisman, for connecting me with Rosa for this show. The work of Ali and Rosa can also be heard on Listen, Rinse, Repeat, a new fiction podcast featuring 20-second long stories that you can listen to while you wash your hands. On the nonfiction side, you can hear Sarah Gorski, it's the actor who plays Camille, as one of the hosts of Broads You Should Know, which is a podcast that highlights women from history. It's fantastic. And if you just want something that has a similar length and vibe to Believer, then 3 shows I highly recommend are Unwell, Call of the Void, and Cryptids. Unwell is a Midwestern Gothic series. They were recently featured in the New York Times, so they probably don't need promotion from me, but check them out. Call of the Void is a cosmic horror story set in New Orleans, and Cryptids follows a skeptical radio host who uncovers a really original bit of paranormal mythology, I think. All 3 of them have complete seasons or even a whole series available, so you won't be hurting for content, so check them out. There's links to all these shows in the show notes. Now finally, I thought I'd end with a story. This is a true story from my life. It's not connected to the Believer verse, and it does involve some harm to animals. So I am putting it at the end so that you can just skip ahead if you want. There's really nothing else here but this story. I grew up on a 5-acre farm in the middle of what is now Oregon wine country, but was then just the middle of nowhere. And a 5-acre farm, it's not very big as farms go, but it does have a barn. And one thing that barns come with is barn cats. Barn cats, if you're not familiar, are sort of random countryside cats who settle into your barn and keep mice out of your grain. Nobody really gets a barn cat. They just kind of show up one day. And they like the food you put out well enough to fight off raccoons for it, and they stick around. So it was with an adorable, strange little black cat we called Herbie. Full disclosure, we named her that thinking she was a boy, but I think it's a pretty good girl name, actually. Herbie came to us as a kitten, but even as a kitten, she was pretty feral. It was kind of like having an aggressive but very adorable squirrel lost in your living room somewhere. Like, it was really cute, but also you'd better be careful around the couches because she will absolutely claw you. But we stuck with her. We were dumb but persistent children, and eventually she transitioned into a friendly garage cat. She was close to the house, but she didn't have to live in the barn. Sometime after she was grown, though, Herbie started to change. She got strange and unpredictable. Some days she was happy to sit and be petted like always, and other days she hissed and ran away. Her favorite scratching spots, sometimes she would hiss and swipe at you for touching them, other times she would like purr and lean into you, and you really never knew what you were gonna get. But like I said, there were 6 kids in my family, and we were nothing if not persistently lovable, so we kept playing with her. We still had this joke that this cat was pretty unstable. She was like the 2 sides of the moon, right? She waxed and waned, just like a good witch cat. Anyway, one day, my mom took a corner a little too quickly coming home, and she found Herbie on the road. I don't know exactly what happened, but Herbie got hit by a car. And my mother saw this cat, and her first thought was, oh no, poor Herbie. But her second thought was a lot more compelling. Oh no, what am I gonna tell the kids? See, my mother is a very kind, compassionate woman, but she was raised on ranches in Montana, so she knew that barn cats sometimes just kind of go missing. And she knew that she had 6 children who were each louder and more dramatic than the other. So while we were all at school, she scooped up Herbie off the road and buried her in the front pasture and never said a word. And that was that. Until one day, my mother looked out the window. She saw a black cat walking down the driveway. This was the same black cat she'd alternately petted and dodged for several years. This was the black cat she found on the road. This was the black cat she buried and never said a word about again. And this cat was mad as hell. And that's the story of how my mother found out that we had two identical black barn cats, one of which was very friendly and one of which was not, but both of which were too territorial to share space. Or at least, that's how she explains it. I'll be back with an episode soon. Bye now.